Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Saiful Ashraf bin Saiful Bahrim.
My name is Abdul Hakim bin Ahmad Salihuddin.
My name is Ahmad Akif Haikal bin Zainuddin.
And my name is Amir Zuhair bin Khairul Anwar.
We are from class ECO211. We are going to discuss about international trade. So before we discuss about international trade, we must to know the definition of international trade. International trade is the exchange of capital, goods, and services across international border because there is a need or want of goods or services. International trade have their own advantages and disadvantages. First advantages of international trade is national well-being. For many nations, international trade is literally matter of life and death. For example, for UK and Japan, it is impossible for them to feed, clothe, and house their present population without import from other countries. The survival of the countries depends on the export of their manufactured goods. Cost of self-sufficiency will be very high when compared to importing. For Americans, the morning cup of coffee will become a luxury without international trade.
The next point for advantages is large-scale production. Due to specialization, factors of production are put to the best use. Specialization followed by large-scale production and introduction of machinery will result in greater output. It also results in stimulating their consumption and demand, which cause further specialization, which lower the price of goods and service all over the world. The last point for advantages is specialization and division of labor. It is beneficial in several respects. An important advantage is the division of labor and the consequent specialization. Different regions are endowed with different types of productive agents. It is to the advantage of each nation or region to specialize in the production of those goods for which their factory equipment is most suited. For example, in Britain, they are rich in iron ores and coal. In Middle East, they are rich with oil resource, and Southeast countries, they are rich in tin and rubber. So, countries which have a specialized advantage of one article can specialize in the production of that article and exchange it for another from another country which is eminently suited. Import which is cheaper than producing that.
Trade. The first disadvantages is political risk. Different countries provide their own political risk at varying levels, while domestic political change over time and present an ongoing challenge. A government can change law in a discriminatory fashion or create regulation that directly impact a specific organization. For example, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, abruptly changed the trade policy of the US, which impact international trade of many countries, particularly China, India, and the European Union. It may be good to market products to a varying geographic region rather than a single country to help balance the political risk. The net disadvantages is intellectual property theft. The wider a product is distributed, the more likely that it may be legally copied by a competitor. This can be in the form of proprietary information or market branding or by reverse engineering. Due to the different legal system in different countries, it becomes very difficult for a company to prosecute. There are international treaties on intellectual property rights. Some countries also have their own separate copyright and trademark protection that can be filled to protect companies selling products in their countries.
Next, shipping customs and duties. International shipping companies like FedEx, UPS, and DHL make it easy to ship packages almost anywhere in the world. However, one of the disadvantages of international trade is that most of these destination countries' customs agencies charge extra fees on items shipped to them. While each government determines this assessment of duties and taxes differently, it is typically calculated on the value of the product sent, item, insurance plus shipping. The item description may also affect these fees based on what is made of or used for. Lastly, against national defense, it is argued that a nation which depends on foreign sources of supply lacks defense during the war. Example, England. During the Two World War is cited as a proof. England was blocked by German submarines, which completely blocked the imports of goods and essential raw materials.
Let's move to our next discussion, which is how international trade helps Malaysian economic growth. Recent years, international trade has played an important role to most of the country. It has connected every country together, provide a considerable profit to them. Among all the country, Malaysia has benefited a lot of international trade in terms of life, work, house, health, and so on. It has improved the economic development totally and made Malaysia much more beautiful. So, Hakim, what do you think about our discussion?
One of the point on how international trade help Malaysian growth their economic is improving product quality and production efficiency. Quality consists of the capacity to satisfy one's quality is the degree to which a specific product satisfies the wants of a specific consumer. Efficiency is the high speed to produce the good in limit time. As we know, international trade brings in external competition to Malaysia, which has affected the local market. So, the tax of importing is very high. In result of the price of goods will be higher than the local one. There are still many people purchasing the foreign goods due to the good quality. For example, the shoes Adidas, Nike, Converse, and Puma, which has attracted many customers in Malaysia. So, the price of them is very high. The quality has won the customers. Therefore, it reduced the number of local goods which should be sold. Meanwhile, the local market also faces the internal competition. In order to sell more and stand in the market, they have to improve the quality of goods. The local market take advantage of the international trade to import technology, good materials, and funds to improve the quality. Of course, this method improves the production efficiency as well due to the advanced technology. In the same time and the same condition, they can produce more product. This has made them become more confident and increase the economic growth of Malaysia. For example, the statistic from the United States to a view. Malaysia import machine tools in about more than 400 million US dollar, mainly from Japan, Germany, China, and Taiwan. In order to encourage importing, Malaysia has taken the current zero tariff policy on imported machines. With this material, Malaysia has acquired large profits and improved the quality and efficiency. Thus, the international trade is really necessary to improve the product quality and production.
Keith, do you have another point?
Yes, next point is international trade help in reduction in unemployed resources. Reduction in unemployed resources means the unemployment rate has reduced. There are not too many people who don't have jobs. In terms of employee in Malaysia, international trade has reduced a lot by two main methods. One is in the investment and another one is export. Generally, investment is the application of money for earning more money. Investment also means saving or savings made through daily consumption. Due to the international trade, a lot of firms have invested in Malaysia and built industry. It is not only a chance to increase the economic development, but also provides more jobs for employees. For example, a foreign company want to invest and build an electric industry in Malaysia. Everything is prepared except the employee. So they make use of the local workers so that they can save the principal and outcome. However, this indirectly help Malaysia to reduce the number of unemployed resources. In addition, as Malaysia need to export goods to obtain exchange, this also has offer a stable market and reduce the number of employees. In all,
Lastly, Amir, can you give us your last point?
Okay, for the last point is change in consumption pattern. Consumption pattern is the combination of qualities, quantities, and acts and tendencies characterizing a community or human group's use of resources of survival, comfort, and enjoyment. To Malaysia, it just has a very single and close cooperation at the beginning before the international trade. They just sell themselves and grow food on their own. But some of the products are not good as they think of because of the insufficient technology and the poor quality of material supplies. Though with the same materials, they still cannot produce better goods. However, the international has changed this. It absorbs the investment as well as the varieties of goods such as food including Japanese sushi, Korean cuisine, and Chinese dumpling to Malaysia. People begin to try those food and this has changed their habits. So Malaysia, meanwhile, some goods which Malaysia is not good at producing are introduced for people to use them. So Malaysia take advantage of their special good which have good quality to export in order to achieve more profit by using the extra time. It means just produce what it means that they just produce what they do well in and focus on producing some special products. In all, the total consumption pattern has been changed to the specialization by the international trade, which is really helpful to Malaysia. In the future, the consumption will be much perfect in Malaysia.
So let's move to our next discussion, which is does the trade protectionism in Malaysia enough to sustain the local business? Before we go more about our discussion, we must know about protectionism. Protectionism is the practice of following protectionist trade policies. A protectionist trade policy allows the government of a country to promote domestic producers and thereby boost the domestic production of goods and services by imposing tariff or otherwise limiting foreign goods and services in the marketplace. So, Amir, do you agree that the trade protectionism in Malaysia enough to sustain the local business?
Yes, because of more growth opportunities will happen. Protectionism provides local industry with growth opportunities until they can compete against more experienced firms in the international market. For an example, as I know, our brand that is Stone & Co. now been compete with other brands in USA. Okay, next. Protectionism creates jobs in the country. Companies supported by the government may afford to hire more staff. As a result, unemployment declines.
Akif, how about you? Do you agree that the trade protectionism in Malaysia is enough to sustain the local business?
yes, the trade protectionism in Malaysia is enough to sustain local business. For example, tariff. Tariff is the tax or duties imposed on imports. Tariff will increase the price of imported goods in domestic market, which consequently reduce the demand for them. This is essential for a country which is focused on developing a certain industry. While competition is restricted, local business have time to grow. They can improve their product and find unique selling point. This also will boost the economy's GDP due to a rise in domestic production.
So as we can see, that the trade protectionism in Malaysia is enough to sustain the local business. So I think that's all from our discussion. So Hakim, can you give us overall conclusion about our topic?
As a conclusion, international trade has really benefited Malaysia so much that basically every part of Malaysia has been improved. It made Malaysia consumption pattern more special and fit for Malaysia themselves. With the quality and efficiency, they have been improved a big step, and this has provided Malaysia a good method to obtain more profits. Meanwhile, their standard of living is becoming higher and higher. In addition, Malaysia has obtained so many mobility of resources, especially the students and highly skilled workers, who have taken advantages of their knowledge and skill to make more countries to their countries. All of them above made Malaysia economy increasing fast and stably. With the international trade, the future of Malaysia will be much beautiful and developed. Thank you for